Today's announcement that the Sisson mine has been added to the major projects list as a project of national interest is a clear sign of the major role that New Brunswick can play in the Canadian economy, the role that we can play in securing Canada and our sovereignty, and the role that New Brunswick can play in the development of the green technologies that we need for the future. The Sisson mine, as some of you may know, is located north of Fredericton. It is one of the largest undeveloped tungsten mines and deposits in the world. It also contains a significant amount of molybdenum resources. And with the updated feasibility work that's now underway, this project is poised to become a major source of the critical minerals that are essential to Canada's economic security, the defense sector, and the clean energy sector because of its use in things like batteries, which we know we need as we transition to more wind, more solar, more renewable energy on our grid. Our government has pushed hard to have this project recognized as a nation-building opportunity. And so we're pleased to see that with 10 projects now announced, New Brunswick's is on the list, and that's a testament to the efforts that our team has made to get the attention of the federal government and demonstrate the resources that we have, the capacity, and our readiness to contribute to Canada's economy and future. We're pleased to see the federal government respond to the advocacy of New Brunswickers and our team. Our
government has pushed really hard in order to get the attention of the federal government and to have this project chosen as of national interest, a project. So we're happy that the federal government answered to our work. It was a teamwork, absolutely. And together, we're going to ensure that this opportunity, which is going to create many jobs, which is going to increase the income of the province, and that it is strengthen our province with these jobs in order to help our economy grow and as well to help us with our security needs and for projects such as batteries and others.
We want to make sure that this opportunity strengthens New Brunswick, supports good paying jobs for New Brunswickers, supports the participation in the supply chain and the things needed to grow our provincial economy. We also want to make sure that this mine operates to the highest standard with the best protections in place, along with the community partnerships that ensure that our environment remains protected and we have a modern and advanced regulatory framework to be deployed. The Sisson mine is part of the critical mineral strategy that our government has been developing over the past year. That lays the groundwork for the kind of robust, responsible, agile regulatory system that will guide developments and future projects. Because this may be one, but as you know, New Brunswick has 21 of the 34 critical minerals that Canada has identified. We have further opportunities for more projects like this in the very near future. This one is ready to go and now has the support from the federal government, along with the support of the people and communities around the project and the folks who have been working hard to make sure that we can benefit from this critical mineral, this tungsten and molybdenum here in New Brunswick and for all of Canada.
We have a project here which is tied to our critical mineral strategies, and that strategy creates a foundation for agile, responsible development, which fulfills the needs of regulation that are modern and developed in order to guide the future development, because we are going to have such developments and new projects in the future. We're forecasting many projects in the future. And with this project, we're going to ensure modern standards and quality work and really responsible work to protect our environment, and where we see the economic windfall here for New Brunswick as well as for Canada.
So we believe now is the time to unlock our potential here in New Brunswick, to put our resources to use for New Brunswickers and for Canada, for our security and for our future. And so we are very pleased to see the federal government acknowledge the major role that New Brunswick is going to play in the strong economy and the strong position globally that Canada is poised to play in the future. Nous sommes vraiment heureuses de voir que le gouvernement fédéral
We're really
a
happy to
reconnu
see that the federal government has recognized the way that New Brunswick can support Canadian interests and our presence on a global scale at a critical time for our country and for our province. We are ready. We have what the world needs, and we're really anxious to use that potential for the benefit of New Brunswickers as well as for Canadians. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. We will now proceed to the questions from members of the media. Each reporter will get one question and a follow-up, and you have the right to pose your question in the official language of your choice. Interpretation services are available. Nous allons maintenant procéder aux questions des journalistes.
We're now proceeded to questions. Each journalist will have one question, a follow-up question. You can ask your question in official language of your choice, and interpretation services are available.
With Anna Mandan from Global News.
Hi there. Can you just talk about, do you have a sense of the timeline now that the federal government has announced this?
The timeline that we have understood from the development team is that there's some increase in work in terms of site preparation and development that you're going to see in the spring of this coming year of 2026, where there will be more activity on site, and we've expected the support financially that's been identified. There is some continued negotiation in terms of the equity partnership that the First Nations are negotiating and undertaking with Northcliffe and with the Todd Group. But we're going to see more activity in terms of development of the site and preparation for mining this spring. And I'm actually keen to be able to have for New Brunswickers a bigger view of all of the steps that are going to come now that we've reached this point. So what they can expect in the spring, what they can expect through 2026, 2027 and beyond.
And as you mentioned, this has been something New Brunswick has been advocating for. Can you talk about why this mine specifically has been something that your government has been championing?
I can. So mining is a part of New Brunswick's history. In fact, I think we had one of the earliest mines in the country before we were even a country back in the 1600s. And for those of you who are enthusiasts of Fundy National Park, you may have hiked the Copper Mine Trail, where there was a really old-fashioned copper mine, a pipe that they used to drop dynamite down to do copper mining a very long time ago. It used to contribute a significant amount to our GDP, about 7%. At one point in time to our GDP. We have mining education at our universities here, experience in mining engineering. We have a workforce, including two gentlemen that I met at MO Solutions yesterday that have been doing mining work in Ontario and Alberta, have built up those competencies and have them here at home. So it's something that New Brunswick has done historically for a long time. It's a part of our identity. But at this moment in time, these minerals, particularly tungsten and molybdenum, are in critical demand at a time when we're repositioning Canada and its consideration of our defense solutions and partners, when we're repositioning our allies globally, as you've seen with the G7 Pact, as everyone needs the kind of minerals that go into the batteries that are powering our cars and our solar panels and our wind turbines. And so this is a critical mineral that New Brunswick has the largest deposit of that is ready to be developed and put to use for the benefit of New Brunswickers and Canadians to help advance our transition from a clean economy perspective, to help secure our province and our country's defense relationships. So now is the time. And now is the time for both this mineral and for New Brunswick to take back our place as a mining leader, and to make sure that that means good paying jobs and the kind of economic activity that supports our province's healthcare system and the kind of affordability that we want to be able to deliver for New Brunswickers.
Thank you.
Laura Brown, CTV.
Well, Premier, I was speaking to the CEO of Northcliffe Resources, and he wasn't even certain that this was going to happen. He wasn't as, certain as even you were in the past couple of days. It sounded to me like he hadn't been given an assurity. I guess, have you been talking to him, and do you know how much financial backing that this company will get out of, like, he's obviously concerned about the financial side of things. So are you aware of how much money this will mean for this company?
So I have been speaking with the CEO of Northcliffe. We had a meeting in Fredericton just a couple of weeks ago, and I can appreciate that we didn't ever want to give anybody false hope about the chances of this project getting included on the list. So we things have come together in the last number of days and weeks, although I think the CEO had also been talking to the head of the major projects office. And so these are conversations that have been happening for a number of weeks and months. But I can appreciate that he was conservative in his expectations, while we might have been a bit more bullish. In terms of financing, so really what we're looking for here, that the major projects office and the federal government's interest and designation means for us is a couple things that I talked about yesterday. We are looking for an offtake agreement. We're looking for a price floor. Those two tools help both attract more investment and secure the value of the resource. And those are critical pieces to this project. So right now, I don't think the negotiation with the federal government is for a second investment. As you know, they've already made one through the Department of Defense of millions of dollars. But it's that price floor and that offtake agreement that really make a difference here.
And I guess on that, he had said that through the provincial EIA process, there's 40 conditions that still have to be met. And their deadline for start of construction is next month. They asked for an extension. Is the province going to grant that?
Yeah, that's a conversation that we've been having because those conditions are critical. They do have to be met, and they have to be met in order to advance to the next stage. So we have been working with the Northcliffe team on those pieces, as well as I mentioned, with the agreements, the accommodation agreements and benefit agreements are in place to update them to 2025 and beyond standards. And so it is likely that now, with the support from the federal government and having these pieces fall into place, that we'll be able to give a little more time to get the next step of activity met to advance those conditions, while we also look at making sure that we are using the latest solutions, that some of the decisions made in 2017 can be updated as we've learned newer and better ways to do things. And so we're doing that refresh as well.
Thank you.
Alex Villeneuve, Radio-Canada.
Oui, merci.
Hello, thank you.
Écoute, si ma compréhension est bonne, ça
If
fait
I
10 ans que
understand properly,
l'entreprise a ses
the
autorisations
business
depuis la
has had
province. Depuis
the
2017, elle les a
the
du
right since
fédéral. Également, l'entente
2017
avec les Premières
that they've been
Nations
able
qui
to
a
do
duré
this, but
depuis
also the
2017.
agreements with
Aujourd'hui,
the
on annonce qu'on
First
veut
Nations have been
accélérer
done. Now
ce
they say they
projet-là.
want to
Moi, je pose la
make
question
that
sérieusement.
project go even
Qu'est-ce
further,
qu'il y a
so
à
even
accélérer? Parce
faster.
qu'avec ce
So
qu'on me
what has to be
présente,
made
je vois surtout
to
une
go faster?
entreprise
Because as
qui
far
a
as I can
décidé,
tell,
pour
it's a
différentes raisons,
business
de
that
ne pas
decided for all sorts
s'engager
of
dans un
reasons
projet
to
où
not
toutes les barrières
commit
avaient été
into
tombées.
a project
Donc,
because of
j'essaie
all
de comprendre
the barriers that were
qu'on
in front of
veut
it. So what
accélérer aujourd'hui au
exactly
juste.
do we want to accelerate in this
C'est
case?
exactement ça, Alex.
Well, that's
On a
exactly
vu
that,
aucune
Alex.
activité
And we saw
vraiment
no
durant la
activity
dernière
really
8 ans depuis
over the past 8
qu'ils ont
years
reçu le support du gouvernement
since
fédéral
we received the federal
pour
government's
l'évaluation des
support
impacts
for
à cause un petit peu de
environmental
l'évolution du
impact
marché,
that get
le rôle que
mostly
la
due
Chine
to
joue dans le
uh,
marché puis dans le prix
the
pour rendre le projet viable. Mais
the market
le
conditions and the
changement
role played by China as
global
well,
des
but the
relations et
global
l'intérêt
relations that have
pour ces
changed
minéraux dans les
and the
investissements de
interest
défense, on voit
for these minerals, especially for especially for the defense industry, and demand for these minerals is going up and prices are going up. So we have a government as well wants to make economic opportunities move ahead, and we want to have economic activity that brings about good jobs with great paying jobs so that people can have a great quality of life that they deserve. I think the conditions are right, but the government wants things to move, and with the changes to the market and with partners that are ready to go ahead with this project.
OK. L'étude d'impact environnemental de la
The
province date
environmental
il y a déjà
impact
des voix. Il y
assessment,
a un
I mean,
organisme,
we've already heard one
Russia Coalition,
organization
également le Parti
with,
vert, qui, eux,
and
disent
also the
qu'après
Green
10 ans,
Party,
c'est périmé,
who
c'est
say
trop
that
longtemps, il faut en
after
refaire
10
une.
years,
Qu'est-ce que
we
vous
have to
répondez?
have a
Est-ce que c'est
new
vrai qu'il
one
faut
because the
refaire
old
l'étude
one
d'impact
is no
environnemental ou
longer
lancer la
valid.
rebonde?
So is that previous assessment still right? Well, we're still looking at the opportunities where there are new solutions, new technologies that have come along in the market since 2017 that we can consider. We're not going to redo the EIAs from start to finish because that's a very exhaustive process from 2012 to 2017, a truly detailed process, and the conditions have not changed, however, with the site itself. But technology and solutions have changed, so we're going to look at what the opportunities are to strengthen or even put in place new solutions, more modern solutions compared to 2017. So that's part of the project at this point.
Merci. Adam Harris,
Thank
Post
you.
Media.
Adam Harris, Post
Thanks, Mark,
Media.
and thanks, Premier. If this works out, New Brunswick will have the second largest capacity in the world to produce tungsten outside of China. Are you pursuing a secondary market of a manufacturing industry? I know there's going to be processing on site, but are you now looking to create a strategy to go around this, knowing the opportunity?
Excellent question, Adam, because we want to see the maximum amount of value returned to New Brunswick and to Canada for this resource. And as New Brunswick has been known for, we take a potato and we turn it into French fries, right? We take a tree and we turn it into diapers and Kleenex and a number of other things. So where we can add value to the primary resource, both for our own use and deployment to the Canadian military or to a local battery plant or beyond, we want to do that. And so there has been some preliminary work done about where there are opportunities to further add value and process and refine the mineral. And there's going to be a lot more work on that front to come.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you expect more New Brunswick projects to make their way to the major projects office? Is there anything that close, and which project would those be?
Good question. We've certainly seen some pathways for priority projects that we've been advancing as the Fed's budget became clear and we saw where certain funds were being recapitalized. And so we anticipate some of the projects that we were pushing as major projects to have their own announcements and support through some of the funds that that we now know are confirmed in the budget, assuming it passes. But we also have components of the Eastern Energy Partnership that, as you know, needed a bit more development, the new nuclear capacity, things like the pipeline project. So we're going to continue to develop those because, as the Prime Minister has said, this is a living list and an ongoing project process with the Major Projects Office. So where we see things that have both benefit to the region, to our province, and to the country, we're going to continue to push those.
Thank you. Sam Farley, CBC.
Good afternoon, Premier. Earlier at the start, you mentioned that the province has already secured the support of people in neighboring communities. I was just wondering if you could please expand on that. Just when was that done and how?
So some of this is going back quite a ways because a lot of the activity around this project happened in the 2014, 15, 16, 17, where communities like the Woodstock First Nation, certainly the Wolastoqey Nations were engaged in the process. The neighboring communities in the municipality of Woodstock and others were engaged in the process, along with our industry associations and the rest. And so we are seeing that there's a number of people that really want to participate in this. I've been getting requests from folks in Stanley and Juniper wanting to know what jobs are available and when they might see those postings come up, so that they could have the opportunity to do work close to home. That would be a good paying job. So now that it's back on the radar, the previous support that had been secured from communities back then has been reinvigorated, and actually I think we're starting to hear from more and more New Brunswickers that want to know how they can participate and benefit from those communities around the site.
Thank you. And do you happen to have updated estimates for the capital value and the provincial royalties that this project could bring?
That's a good question, because we've been re-crunching those numbers. We used to use the estimates of about $280 million of royalties, $245 million of tax revenue. Some of that is dependent on the price of the resource and the cost to develop. So those are the initial estimates that we're working with, but we're refining those in partnership with Northcliffe as we get more clarity on where an expected price is going to land, and what we see as the pace of the realization of value from the resource.
Thank you. Matthew Skase, Globe and Mail.
Hi, Premier. Following up on that question, how far along exactly are discussions with First Nations and, I guess more specifically, royalty agreements?
So similarly to my other answers, a lot of the work was done a lot of years ago on this, and then discussions were restarted when we formed government and identified this as an opportunity for New Brunswick to contribute to Canada's defense interests, to Canada's interests in green energy technologies, and sort of dusted the project off and engaged with the Wolastoqey Nation, the Mi'kmaq Nation, the Beskitimekati. As you know, Minister Heron sent letters to every nation in this province, and we sat down with them and talked about our desire to develop minerals and to develop the Sisson mine. We've engaged with Chief Paul on numerous occasions, with the team from WNNB, with the chiefs of the other Wolastoqey nations over the last, I was going to say 6, 9 months that we've been having these conversations, and certainly in the last 3 or 4 months, those conversations have increased, because we know there's going to be there's more activity happening. There's monitors on sites, and now there's the refresh of the agreements to introduce the equity component. So we're at the beginning of the equity component considerations. We may well be leveraging the funds the federal government has put in place to support First Nations in taking equity stakes in projects like this. So that piece is more in its infancy, because that's part of the modernization of this project. Projects like this move forward when everybody benefits. And the best way to do that is with equity relationships with First Nations and others. And so that's a piece that we're going to be integrating and refreshing in the agreements that exist now.
Thank you. I guess I'm curious, do you know how closely those agreements will be to the 2017 agreement? I think 6 First Nations could receive about 35% of the first $2 million of royalties, and then 3.5% of everything above that. Do you know if the agreement will look close to what that is?
It's too soon to tell on that front, Matt, because there's a difference, I guess, between an equity stake and a royalty relationship, and so that's the kind of thing that's being discussed and negotiated now.
Thank you.
Lindsay Armstrong, Canadian Press.
My questions were just answered. Thank you so much, Premier.
Perfect. Alex Allen, Acadia Broadcasting. Dan Arsenault, All New Brunswick.
Hi, I came in a little late on this. I heard some talk about an offtake agreement. Has one been struck, or what role can the province play in helping to arrange one?
So that's part of the work that we're looking for the Major Projects Office to take on with us and with Northcliffe is the development of that offtake agreement, because really that's what helps secure the project and the price. So those are some of the next steps now that the project has been designated in the national interest and critical for Canada.
Thank you.
Sheldon McLeod, MBS Radio.
All good here. Thank you.
David Koch, MB Media Co-op.
Hi, Premier Holt. A report published by Mining Watch.
I have got the mayor of Edmundston waiting for me.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Oh,
that's better, David. Yeah.
Hi, sorry. A report published by Mining Watch stated that the Sisson mine would be 5 to 10 times bigger than most other tungsten mines in the world, but the ore grade is 3 to 7 times lower. And according to this analysis, the low ore grades appear to make the Sisson mine the world's biggest tungsten waste management project in the world. Any comment on this rather grim analysis?
Well, I think, as you said, it's a preliminary analysis, and we're not at the point of extracting ore from the site. But the exploration that's been done and the assessments that have been done have proven that this is a viable source of the kind of tungsten that our country needs. And so that's why we're going to move forward with its development.
And as you know, a number of Willistoke elders, grandmothers have pledged to resist this project. Are you prepared to see them jailed over this?
Well, that's a hypothetical question. We've been meeting with the grandmothers and meeting with the Grand Chief on this subject and keeping everybody informed about how it's being developed and what kind of accommodations and benefits are being put in place, what kind of environmental protections are being put in place to meet the conditions that have been established. And so we're going to continue to work in that spirit of communication and listening and respecting the relationship there, while also working closely with the elected chiefs on responding to their interests with this project as well.